dark, dark tune, there was a dark, dark street, and in the dark, dark street, there was a dark, dark office. In the dark, dark office, there were some dark, dark stairs, and down the dark, dark stairs, there was a dark, dark room, and in the dark, dark room was where the worst wrestling tropes go to die.
Hello, I'm Ross Tweddell from Cultaholic Wrestling, and welcome to the latest installment of Straight to Hell, the show, of course, where my illustrious guest offers up a list of their pet peeves from the world of professional wrestling, and they get sent down straight to hell, to rot for the rest of eternity. Joining us today is a man who you might know from New Japan Pro Wrestling, a man who you might know through his exploits with Ring of Honor, but a man who this week, most importantly, is known for putting on Talking Shopper Mania 2 with the good brothers Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. A show which, by the way, happens this coming Friday, November the 13th. We speak about where you can see it during the video, a video which, by the way, doesn't really follow the same traditional Straight to Hell structure. We spend a long time speaking about Talking Shopper Mania because basically that's the right thing to do. There's nothing like it apart from Talking Shopper Mania 1. It's truly something to behold, but without any further ado, over to Ross and to Rocky Romero. So Rocky, I need to kick things off with a massive question. I'm going to put you right on the spot to begin with. Can you send me some whiskey and or some wine?
I would have to do it personally because I think there's some laws that might get in the way of that. But yes, I would. Next time I'm in the UK, maybe I can sneak over a package or two. Don't tell anybody.
I'll make a note of that, by the way, because I know it's going to be about 2024 before you can get back over here. So, but yeah, I say that just in case people aren't aware. Talking Shopper Mania is becoming this big thing. You've got obviously the pay-per-view. We're here to talk about this coming Friday. You've got the animated series coming out. You've also got wine. You've got whiskey. You've got the podcast. It's becoming this massive, great big thing. How is this all happening, especially in the year 2020?
You know, my two best friends, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, they got fired from the WWE, and it just so happened, we were during this pandemic, and if it wasn't for this pandemic, I do think none of this would actually be going on. So, and that kind of just created an opening for us to go for it, and we really just hit the ground running. And, it all starts from the podcast that comes out every Sunday. It all, derives from that. But who knew we would be doing a pay-per-view from Gallows' backyard in last August, and then now to be doing another one this week is just insanity. And but it gave us a chance to be really creative and really just try new things. We always wanted to do like a business together. We just didn't know what it was going to be. We always said, oh man, it'd be cool to do our own beer, it'd be cool to do this, and then all of a sudden these opportunities arose, and here we are.
And is this where it's stopping, or are you going to do more and more on top of what you're already doing?
Just keep going. Going.
We know the first Talking Shopper Mania, which I watched on my birthday, and let me tell you, there was no better way to spend my birthday evening than sitting down with a beer and watching Talking Shopper Mania 1. We know that came about after Gallows and Anderson obviously got released by WWE, and then I think it was Gallows just messaged you and Carl and said, do you want to get involved? This is what I want to do in my back garden, you're either in or you're out. And after sort of going through all of that and putting all that together, which must have been an absolute nightmare to begin with, what made you come back for some more? Was it just just the success of the first one?
Yeah, when we did the first one, we didn't think that anybody was gonna, really care. We thought maybe, there'd be our small audience that is into our podcast might be with it, but it was so much bigger than that. And we had so many people inside the wrestling industry going nuts, and going crazy. Like, how do I become a part of that? And having Orton tweet out about it, and Balor and all these guys, so like it really just kind of became a thing. And as we're watching the show, we see this thing, we see Talking Shopper Mania start trending, and then we're next thing you know, in the US, we're right behind UFC and the NBA, who just came back that week. So now we're trending number 3, and we're like, this is blowing our minds, because this is a thing that like you said, Gallows made up and forced us into, and then now here we are. We shot it in his back garden, and now it's trending number 3 in the US, and like it was trending in the UK as well, worldwide. Yeah. So it's just to be doing it again, I feel like now we just really want to push the envelope a little further, really get creative with it. There's a massive storyline. thread that goes through Talking Shop Mania 2, which is important. So now, I mean, we're already thinking about Talking Shop Mania 3 and what we can do. So hopefully this is successful and will give us the platform to do the next one, because the next one, in my opinion, is going to be the one. That's going to be the Godfather 2 for us. I think it'll really be the important one. So I'm just hoping it all works out, and this week is going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
So I saw Cole Anderson speaking recently about the first one, and then just sort of putting together the second one. He was talking about overspending. And obviously the first one, we saw the hearse and everything, all the talent involved. So without giving away any spoilers, what have you been spending your money on? What have you done? Because the first one was good enough and had all the production values, to begin with, and now you've overspent. So what have we got in store?
Well, we did up the production value. I mean, not a ton, but we definitely put some money into the production value to kind of raise that, because we were trying to figure out, like, okay, well, what do we spend money on? Last time it was just the bare essentials of just getting this, to just be good enough, So now it was like, well, what can we spend on? Okay, we'll up the production slightly. Okay, and then they gave me free reign to do whatever I wanted. So because we decided we wanted to make this thing bigger, and like, what is like WrestleMania 3 or something, where they decided to do it from multiple locations. We're like, oh, that we got to do that. So we did it, of course, in Atlanta at Gallus' estate. And then we also wanted to do it in Los Angeles, where I'm from. So I got a production company, and I got craft services, and I got a whole team of people to do one segment, Chavo Guerrero Jr. versus Chico El Luchador, in a lucha libre death match. And when I mean death match, I mean like literally somebody has to die for somebody to win in this. Only in the Talking Shop Mania world, of course, the alternate universe. So I spent all the money on that. It's basically Matrix Reloaded in a professional wrestling environment. so I mean, there's gunshots, there's a missile. If you've seen the trailer, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on during this whole crazy fight of Chico Luchador versus Chavo Guerrero. Just stuff that you've always wanted to, well, just stuff that's never been done in professional wrestling. That's what I was going for. And I kind of bet the bank on that match, and overspent. We're in the red. We may not be around next year either way, because we might go under and claim bankruptcy, but we'll see what happens.
So speaking about overspending, the production values, another headline match is the Ball for a Ball match. And obviously you see that, and Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins and what happened there springs to mind. So I need to know, without any spoilers once again, were any ping pong balls harmed in the making of that match? Or have we just literally ripped off a ball sack?
Well, you know what? There's the only way to win a Ball for a Ball is to remove a testicle, at least one testicle from a ball sack. So yes, there is some ball ripping, there's some ball biting, there's a lot of different ball related offense and defense, and some really, really crazy funny cameos that go along with that. Like, imagine trying to tell Scott Steiner that you're inviting him to your house. Poor Gallows had to have this conversation. I'm inviting you to my house. Yeah, we're going to do this pay-per-view from my backyard, but I also want you to rip my balls off. So
I doubt Scott Steiner of all people would have any issue. I bet he's been asked way weirder in his career.
True, that's good point.
So speaking of Scott Steiner, and there's Virgil was there. I saw on the trailer, and then there's got people like the Warlord. Did this take any selling to people like that, like legitimate big names in the professional wrestling industry? Had they seen the first show?
None of them saw the first one, no. But that generation like you said, it was funny, like trying to explain it to them, like just the concept of what we're doing. That no idea. Virgil thought he was getting booked for AEW for some reason. Like, I think because we filmed it on a Tuesday, and it was like, oh no, sorry, we filmed it on the Wednesday, but he got in the Tuesday before. So he thought, I think his agent got confused, and they thought they were doing AEW. So he told Tommy Dreamer, like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. I haven't done AEW yet, but it's going to be cool to do it. So imagine him when he pulls up to this house in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, obviously this is not AEW. I don't know what's going on. But then he ended up having a great time when we were doing the Ball for Ball match. And he's just off to the side, just laughing so hard. He's like, yeah, this is my type of humor. This is what I'm all about. Like, we couldn't get him to stop saying stuff. We kept having to cut because Virgil was laughing so hard in the corner. We're like, Virgil, you got to stop, man. You got to go somewhere else.
I was watching Ethan Page's vlog from behind the scenes at Talking Shop Mania 2. And I don't know if he was lying or if he was just saying it because you were just in front of him, but he was saying that you were running the entire show, basically, telling people where to be, telling people where to go, what time they had to do, stuff like that. So take us into that role, and what's that like? I guess it's bad enough on a normal professional wrestling show, but then you're doing the sort of parody stuff that Talking Shop is. Does that make it worse or easier?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it easier because we, and we're not meeting any deadlines. So that's kind of why we kind of pre-taped it as well. I mean, we're making the deadline for the pay-per-view, but we're not like stressed about doing it live because, live is always really hard. But I like it's many hats that we're all wearing, myself, Gallows and Anderson, when we're putting on these things, because not only are we in it financially, just three of us, with no backing from any major company or anything like that, but we're also writing, directing, producing this whole thing. So it's stressful. It's very stressful. I mean, we started the Talking Shop Mania 2 the first day. We started shooting at 7. We didn't get done till 1 a.m. So I mean, it's just a really long day. The ball for ball, I think the final scene was done at about 1 a.m. So I mean, exhausting day, but just fun. Everybody's cool and the energy is fun because everybody's actually having fun doing it. So even though we're starting to stop in like a movie almost, everybody around is just like having a good time and like laughing. And we've all been cooped up in the house, for the most part, so with the pandemic. So everybody's kind of like happy and willing to work really hard and still have fun doing it. And that's what Talking Shop Mania, I think, is all about.
And just in case people aren't aware, where can we catch Talking Shop Mania 2, Rise of the Torturer, this coming Friday the 13th of November?
Yeah, Friday the 13th of November, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm not what that would translate to here in the UK, but you can find it on Fight TV, the Fight.tv app. It's only $14.99 US, so it's not a very expensive pay-per-view compared to the rest of the others, but it's a guaranteed good time.
Absolutely. I can vouch for that after watching the first one. And I'll be remiss with getting you on the show without asking about all things New Japan. Just how are things doing with New Japan at the moment?
New Japan's doing awesome. Able to have 25 to 30% of capacity in the arenas. So that's just, to be able to come back and have fans already is just really, really awesome. It's so helpful. G1 was a huge success in so many ways, and being able to do the commentary live with myself, Kevin Kelly, and Chris Charlton was just like a blessing. It was so amazing to do the final 3 nights. So so Power Struggle was last week, and then now going forward, it's Best of Super Junior, which is I'm really looking forward to watching. Super J Cup on December 12th, which will be on Fight TV and New Japan World, and then and that's here from the US. And then finally January 4th and 5th going forward is the big 2 dates for Wrestle Kingdom.
And is it safe to assume, obviously, maybe Talking Shop Mania 3 could be happening when the world is back up and running again? Your involvement with Talking Shop and New Japan, could we see New Japan involvement in Talking Shop Mania 3? Is that too fanciful of me to say?
I feel like the two worlds are so very, very distant, but maybe if there's some kind of weird alternate universe, New Japan, we can make its own faction or something, and maybe in the Talking Shop Mania world. But I think keeping it separate is kind of the fun part. So we'll see. But you never know. We'll see. You never see. Especially as the world opens up, and next year, if we do Talking Shop Mania 3 live or have some elements that are live, who knows where it could be from? Who really knows? Yeah.
And so, of course, we're here as well, not only to speak about Talking Shop Mania, but also do some Straight to Hell, which is, of course, the show where the guests suggest things they don't like about life as a professional wrestler, or maybe the professional wrestling business as a whole, and they get to just vent all their frustrations before that thing gets sent down to hell to rest for, eternity. So if I said to you, what do you want to send to hell? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
First thing I think I want to say, because this is kind of fresh, is I think that wrestlers should be able to have their own Twitch accounts, and they should be able to monetize outside cameos, especially stuff like that. So anybody who says no to that, I send them straight to hell.
And I fully agree with you. I think I saw in the news this week that NXT people get to keep theirs, but main roster don't. That's weird, isn't it?
That's so strange, especially since NXT is on television now too, like on major cable and stuff. I think that's kind of weird and strange, but I guess for the whole, maybe NXT is probably making less than the actual main roster. So, but still, I mean, why not? I mean, look, if I make a song and I'm a musician and I should be able to put it out and monetize it as that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think gaming is the same way. And I think Cameo is basically another extension of that. Maybe not as much, but YouTube at least, right? If you want to become a YouTuber and do that kind of stuff, you should be able to monetize it.
Yeah. And I saw a quote from somebody who works for WWE who was defending the decision by saying, well, nobody's on the road at the minute with the pandemic. The costs, obviously, not being on the road, everything's down. So us taking the money away from them from Twitch, that doesn't matter. They're not spending enough anyway. So looking at this from the perspective of a wrestler, do you agree with that statement or not?
No, I don't agree with that at all. That doesn't even make sense.
What about when the world gets going again and then traveling starts to happen? What happens to that argument then?
Right. Yeah. And what is it? I mean, what does that matter? I mean, is it really, I guess the real question is it hurting the company, right? Is it actually hurting the company? I don't think it's hurting the company as much, because I do think, though, that if there should be a medium. Maybe wrestlers could pay a management fee or like an agency fee, right? That seems fair on both ends, right? But that would be like 10 or 15%, probably max, right? But WWE should welcome that, because they're making a different product, right? That people could be interested in. And maybe WWE would want to buy that from the actual individual later. So, I mean, like look up, down, down. I mean, I think Xavier Woods started that. Now it's become a WWE type channel, right? So like they've kind of taken that over. So like, why can't other wrestlers create something in that world, being related to that world, and then having WWE, if they choose to, maybe come in and take that over at some point with a financial transaction, of course, or some kind of, maybe the wrestler keeps a back end of something. I mean, I think that there's so many ways to do it. I think by just saying no, and it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And yeah, I think the plans are, it's all coming about because WWE want to launch their own Twitch channel later this year. And I was thinking, surely if you've got a number of established people on the platform already, does that not benefit the new channel, being affiliated with these already established people? It makes no sense to me.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so. And plus, WWE in a whole, their Twitch channel is going to be much different from, say, Paige's channel, because it's going to be Paige all the time. Maybe she might play with a couple of friends from WWE, or maybe some people outside of WWE, where WWE is going to be all WWE influenced Twitch stuff, so like, and they can pick whoever, they can have Roman in there, they can have AJ, it's always going to be shuffling, and it's always going to be different, but you can help both channels, right? That's why I think also the agency fee really makes sense for WWE, because they're invested, right? They're going to get some kind of percentage back, and they have a reason to be involved and help both sides,
Mm-hmm. Right then, so there we have it. The decision to take Twitch away from wrestlers has gone firmly straight to hell, where it belongs. What's your next offer, and what comes to mind next to go straight to hell? Anything about the life as a professional wrestler, maybe something from your fandom that you hated that you want to send to hell, anything that comes to mind.
Wow. Yeah, this is too open, I feel like. Man, sometimes social media in general, I'd love to send that straight to hell on some days.
What about that in particular? Is it engagement with fans, or is it wrestlers having opinions on certain things that you don't like and stuff like that?
I would say, I just don't like the overall kind of negativity of people on there. When people just trying to hurt people just to hurt them, because it makes them laugh or for whatever. I don't like that part. That part really, really irks me. I would send that part straight to hell any day of the week, any second. I just don't like sometimes people, you might post something today and then somebody's got to really just right on you, dropping some kind of joke that's maybe personal or something like that, and it's just too much for me. I don't enjoy that, and I especially don't like when my fans are being attacked for no reason by another fan. So I would send that straight to hell. That's kind of broad and open, but basically, come on, guys, you should know better.
Yeah, just be nice to the people, innit? It's
nice.
It's an easy thing to do. It's hard to go out your way and just sit down and type something bad to somebody else and make their day a bit worse for it.
Right? Isn't it much easier just to press the like button?
Yeah, just hit that heart, move on with your day.
Exactly.
So there we have it. Interactions like that with fans going. I don't think we need to say anything else about that. They're pretty self-explanatory. But I'm going to press you for one more. Just before we get off the call here today, I need one more. What's the next biggest thing that comes to mind just before we go?
Oh wow. I'm trying to think of something maybe from the fandom that I just couldn't wrap my head around.
We had a guest called Chris Renfrew who wrestles for ICW up in Scotland who sent Bruce Hart down because he didn't like the way that Bruce Hart used to hog the spotlight from Brett on the side of the cage, making it all about him and stuff like that. And just the hatred for Bruce Hart. I know it kind of contradicts what we've just said about social media, but it's Bruce Hart, so it's fine.
Right. Okay. So when Warrior and Hogan, when they had their showdown, I was 100% a Hogan diehard, Hulkamania till I die as a young man. But something about the Ultimate Warrior was just bigger, better, and cooler. Even though, I mean, now as a grown man, it's kind of nuts. But like as a young child, I mean, really felt like he was bigger than life, right? So I sent Hulk Hogan straight to hell at that point, and I was completely off the bandwagon of Hulk Hogan because I knew there was not a shadow of doubt that he was going to be able to beat the Ultimate Warrior, and I was right. So Hogan, cool. I sent you straight to hell, bruh.
I listened to, I think it was Bruce Pritchard on his podcast recently, not too long ago, sorry, saying that the reason why Warrior was not as big as Hogan was because people couldn't relate to the sort of the rocket ship to the moon and all that malarkey and the whatever he was used to snorting noises, insert snorting noise here.
As a kid, though, I thought
that wasn't the case with you, no.
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was just he didn't seem human. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, he felt superhuman, which I liked. You know, I was into Superman and all these other things. I mean, he felt like that.
And did Hogan not? Or is it just in comparison?
You know what? Hogan just felt like too played out. Like it was like the time was over. It to me, like I was ready to move on. As I was growing as a person, I was ready to move on. I felt like maybe too. Yeah.
And just quickly as well, I was watching an interview with you from not too long ago, and you were saying you obviously grew up a WWE kid, but then you got to a certain point where New Japan took over. Then the goal wasn't to be a WWE superstar; it was to appear for New Japan. So how did that transition happen from the sort of real sports entertainment, wacky stuff of the early '90s, I guess it might have been, to the sort of the more sports-based stuff of New Japan?
I blame the cruiserweight division in WCW, you know, because it kind of made it things a little more serious. It felt like, and just more, you know, obviously more athletic, and that's something I could relate to because I'm smaller in stature anyway. So I felt like I could relate to the cruiserweights. So I was like, if I can enter professional wrestling, I'm gonna have to enter as a cruiserweight, right? So that seemed like a viable way in. So I started exploring that more, and they had these guest stars like Jushin Thunder Liger and these guys. So, you know, I remember watching the J Cup and just being blown away, and the first J Cup, and I was just like, oh, that's where I want to be. I want to be in Japan. What is this company, you know? Oh, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then you just went, you know, started checking out everything. And then it had been like, you know, had Jericho had gone there, and, you know, Malenko, all these guys. So it's like, oh, so this is how you do it. But then once I saw it and realized how amazing it was, and especially once I went in person, I was like, how could I ever leave this? This is amazing. And this is, you know, long before, you know, it grew into what it is now, and how, you know, how dominant it is globally now, and just with the name, you know, even just when we went to the UK last year, how awesome that was, that sellout. So I feel like, now it's kind of hard to leave. And now I have all these friends and family that are a part of this whole company, and I kind of always liked being the underdog, you know? So, I mean, you know, New Japan is definitely the underdog when it comes to, you know, professional wrestling worldwide, you know? So I feel like being on that team is kind of cool. You know, we're the Bad News Bears, you know?
But back to the point at hand, Hulk Hogan has gone straight down to hell. That's the third
See ya, Hogan.
and final offering. Right then, Rocky, I just need to thank you so much for your time this evening. Anything you want to plug, whether it be Talking Shop and Mania or otherwise, just before you leave us?
Yeah, so this Friday, this Friday night, Friday the 13th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, on Fight TV. Check out Talking Shop of Mania 2, Rise of the Torturer, the second worst pay-per-view ever. And also please check out the podcast. Every Sunday it drops, Talking Shop with Gallows Anderson and myself. It's a whole lot of fun. And check out njpwworld.com, and we'll see you soon.
Right. Thank you, Rocky, for your time. That's it all for this episode of Straight to Hell. We'll see you next time.